Welcome, guys, to the Dalbianco podcast with Brendan and Rhiannon.
On this podcast, we're here to talk about self-development, health and fitness, business, and our journey as brand new business owners.
Let's go. Make sure you stick around because I'm telling you right now, this is the best podcast you'll ever see.
Enjoy, guys. Ciao.
So 2025 is coming to an end. We like to do these recaps at the end of each year. Well, for the past 2 years, we've done it. We've done roughly around 48 episodes this year because we took a bit of a hiatus, a bit of a break when rolling into this gym. And reflection is something that we pride ourselves on because it has helped us build resilience. It's helped us jump on cameras and talk to people and build up that confidence that we need as business owners, as CEOs of our gym now. But if you had to describe what 2025 was like in one word, what would it be?
Risky. Because we made a few decisions this year that we put our time, money, and lives on the line to kind of make something for ourselves. And it wasn't just one decision like this one gym. There was a few that happened before that and a few that have happened since then that we've had to make, to shift, to get to where we are right now. And without those decisions, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So there were good risks. Obviously, not all risks panned out. You know, some of the decisions we made didn't go well, but a lot of the decisions we made did go well. So it kind of depends on the situation. We learned from the mistakes that we made anyway. So even though we took these risks, took these gambles, even if they didn't pay off, we still learned from that mistake. And I know that I wouldn't make some of those mistakes again.
And I think the risk that we took this year was for ourselves because we knew if we didn't, who knows where we would be. Probably be doing the same thing, still in your garage, working out of there. Things may have panned out in the right direction.
I think everything always pans out.
If you believe it does.
If you believe in it enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like we weren't believing in it towards the end.
Well, we were losing hope.
Losing hope.
We were losing hope. I think that's another big thing that we've taken away from this year is to
Regain hope.
regain hope. Yeah.
And in a way, I feel like we weren't the right leaders for what we wanted to achieve, and we didn't have the correct vision of what we wanted to achieve. We just said a big goal in ourselves that we wanted to achieve X by a certain date. We didn't achieve it by that date, and we were flattened and were disappointed in ourselves. And obviously that demotivated us. It made us not want to continue, and we shifted our focus. And now, obviously, we're in a gym. We're in our gym. We decided to take that risk, take that plunge, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Why do you think you're not the same person you were in the beginning of 2025?
Because if you're the same person you were yesterday, you're not doing anything in terms of growth. I constantly, every single day or every single decision I make, I always reflect on it. I'm like, okay, was that the right thing to do? Could I have changed things? Could I have done things different? Is there another way to do what I did before? Is there a quicker way to do what I did before? Is there a way that I can do what I want to do without impacting the people around me? And sometimes when you do things, you're not always going to do the right thing. And you can't aim for perfection. I've always been the type of person that does things messy first and thinks of the repercussions later because I'm all about speed. You know, the faster you can do one thing means you can move on to the next thing a lot faster. And that's very important in business because the faster you can make a decision, the faster you can get on to the next one. And obviously that compounds and that just relates to growth. But when it comes to life, not everyone is on the same trajectory that you are on. Not everyone has the same speed perception that you have. And the team that you're leading or the team that you're around, you need to understand that not everyone is going to have the same perception of time, energy, and speed as you. And sometimes when you're aiming to get to a certain place by a certain time and the people around you are not on that same framework, they're going to be left behind. So that was probably a big learning curve that you can go fast. You can go faster alone, but you're never going to go far alone.
Do you think growth came from adding skills or removing behaviors?
I would say that you have to have both. You can't constantly be adding new things to your plate without removing past behaviors. You kind of have to do both at the same time. You adding more layers to yourself without removing the old ones means you're just going to amplify your negatives and not actually take the benefit of having all these positive actions or positive behaviors in your life anymore. So you removing your old previous habits is going to allow you the freedom to actually focus on your good new habits. So that's been a big one for me. What's been your biggest lesson in 2025?
The biggest takeaway that I had from this year was the fact that I didn't believe in myself enough. Didn't believe that I could take a risk and believe that I could do it. I couldn't do the thing. We preached it. We talked about it. We spoke about it with people on the podcast. But behind closed doors, behind the camera, when the camera's not on, when people aren't seeing us on social media, you take that second of self-reflection and you're in your head. And the first thing I thought was, I don't believe in myself enough. So this year coming up is what I want to do, is focus on believing in myself. But the biggest takeaway is that I can do it. I can do whatever I put my mind to. You just have to have the right people around you, the right community, the right friends, the right people cheering you on. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh shit, another day. There's other days where you wake up and you're like, okay, today's going to be good. I don't want that anymore. I don't want there to be, as you mentioned before, the roller coaster of emotions. I want to be able to wake up and be happy continuously instead of waking up on two different ends of the spectrum, either too happy or too sad. So the biggest takeaway is for obviously self-belief, believing in myself again.
I have a technique for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you wake up in the morning, no matter what time it is. I have a client of mine, he's awake at 1 a.m. in the morning. And what I do personally, this is my own thing, is wake up in the morning. One of the first things I do is I go straight to the bathroom and I look at myself in the mirror, lights on, very gloomy experience because it's just me facing me. And I look at myself and I'm like, you got this. No matter what it is, no matter what I have planned for that day, even if it's taking my dog for a walk, looking at yourself and saying, you got this, it's going to give you that boost. Because sometimes, especially when it comes to running a business or building a brand, you're not going to have people cheering you on all the time. You're not going to have a cheerleading squad clapping you on when you do that sales call, clapping you on when you shoot off that marketing email, saying, let's go when you do a meeting with your staff. A lot of those things got to be self-pats on the back. Or looking at the mirror and saying, I'm proud of the reflection that I see looking back at me. And sometimes that comes from not only recognizing what you've done, what you've achieved, and giving yourself a pat on the back for that, but I feel like those things are external, but then also looking within and saying, you know what, I'm happy with what I've got planned coming up. I'm happy with my vision. I'm happy with my goals. I feel like I'm doing everything I can every day to get closer to them, even though I always feel, and this is me every day, I always feel like I could have done more. I'm still content with the fact that I still did something, And if you're always in this negative mindset of, I could have done more. What a shit day. I did nothing today. Nothing was productive. Everything went to shit. Then you're always going to have a pretty shit life if you're always in that negative mindset. But if you turn it around and say, you know what, I could have done more, but I did what I could today. And I never used to do that. I used to always come out of a big day and shit on myself for not doing enough. And you remember when I used to do that to myself. But I feel like it's actually a good practice to give yourself that pat on the back. And to me, it actually gives me the freedom to actually wake up every single morning happy, excited, and ready, full of energy to just kill the day.
Did it take you a couple months to build that habit to walk into the bathroom and tell yourself that? Was it something that you heard? Was it something that you read?
Oh, honestly, I might have heard it somewhere. I can't remember where I heard it from, but I just started randomly doing it one day.
And you actually do this?
Yeah.
So if I came into your bathroom at 4 a.m. before you woke up and lied in the bathtub, you'd be in there saying, "You got this."
It's not. I'm not sitting in front of the mirror like, "You got this, man."
That's what I'm trying to get.
No, it's more like an internal dialogue.
So what are
like
you
I look at
telling
myself in the
yourself?
mirror. I stare at the mirror. I'm like,
Just do it.
just do it. Don't have to physically look at yourself in the mirror and be like, "You got this, man." Like talking to yourself in third person. It's more, you look at yourself in the mirror, you reflect on what you did the day before, and you realize, okay, today's another day.
Was there
What happened yesterday happened yesterday. What happens tomorrow is going to happen tomorrow. What's happening today, what's happening now is what's going to happen. So you can't. The thing is, when it comes to anything in life, everyone always thinks of what is coming tomorrow. The flashy new thing, the weekends, what's happening on Friday night or Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
They're always thinking about the past or things that they could improve on, and they're stuck in the past. But for the longest time that I can remember, I've always been focused on the present and the now. And that's always worked for me. I delete the files, that. I delete the files. I don't care what happened yesterday. And even though I have goals and I have dreams that I'm going for, I don't let what's happening tomorrow affect what's happening today. I use them as anchors of what I'm going to do, but I don't let them define what I'm doing right now. Like for example, I'll relate this to fitness and health, right? I have a goal to, run a marathon, right? But when I'm going for a run, I'm not going to run 42 Ks. I'm only focusing on my level at that stage, which is today I'm running 5. When I'm attempting my powerlifting total, trying to get to 500 kilos, on each of my sessions, I'm not focusing on trying to hit that total in that session straight away. I'm focusing on what I can do right then and right there. I'm not going to be upset about the fact that I was, 300 kilos off or whatever it is. Because you thinking about how far away it is going to demotivate you to absolutely smash whatever you're doing at that point.
And for the people that are going through that at the moment, or they're experiencing some level of doubt, what would you say to them? Because let's be honest.
You can't control what you can't control. You can only control yourself, your actions, your behaviors, and how you respond to other people. You can't control others. You can't control how people are going to react to what you do. So you got to remember that anything external to you, you can't control. So get it out of your mind. I feel like a lot of people put pressure on themselves because they're trying to compare to other people. They see other people doing specific things and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that." And that eats them up because they're always thinking about what can happen or what could be or what the XYZ did. And the thing is, you can't control that. You can't control what, that person did, but you can control what you do. And that's what you need to focus on.
Why do you think people hesitate when they want to do something for themselves?
Guilt.
Guilt.
They feel guilty that if they focus on themselves, they're not actually providing for their people, their community, their business, their career, whatever that person's things are that they're helping in their life. Because let's get this right. Everyone is helping someone in some way. They're either helping their family or they're helping build their career for someone else, or they're helping grow a business which is serving a community of people, right? They're doing one of those few things, and there's probably heaps more that I'm not factoring in right now. And sometimes when we do things for ourselves, we feel like we're taking away time from those things that we're helping. So you focusing on yourself means that you're focusing less on your family or your business or your career. And some people, if they're really involved in those things, can feel like, oh, you know, I can't train because if I train, I'm going to miss that thing I had planned for XYZ. And the one thing that we've learned this year is if you don't fill your own cup, you're not going to have any water to pour to all those people anyway.
What's been a big lesson that you've taken away from the podcasts that we've done in 2025?
Everyone defines success differently. That there's no true definition of success. It's an individual question because, you know, people are very different when it comes to how they view money, how they view success. That success leaves clues. And I feel like every successful person we've had on our podcast has some similarities to each other. And probably the biggest ones I can think of when it comes to sitting down with these successful people is they have some form of like passion for what they do. And you can hear it in how they talk. You can hear it how they talk about their business, that nothing is going to stop them in achieving their goal. And I feel like every time we talk to a successful business owner as well, counterpoint is the fact that they've got real physical goals that you can actually see. They don't have to actually physically say it to you, but you can see it in their face that they've got some target that they're going for, which when I've noticed that, it makes me realize how important goal setting is. I do it all the time with my clients, but it makes me realize that if you don't have like a really good why to what you're doing, then you can definitely get lost. What about you?
Everyone has... Well, the success one is the question that I always like to ask at the end because it really sums up the podcast. It sums up what their passion is, what they strive towards every day, why they wake up feeling 100%, why they wake up in love with what they do. I think the one key takeaway is that they all focused on giving back to other people before themselves and learnt that very quickly and decided to prioritize themselves and fill up their own glass first. And that was the same theme with most of the podcast, was that there was a lot of lessons, trials, tribulations that they went through in the early stages of their career. And it wasn't that they had to learn it quickly. It was just that that was something that they took away in the earlier stages that they wouldn't repeat again.
What's a little win that you've taken this year that, you know, not many people would have noticed?
I think the biggest win is maybe the resilience I've built, the ability to take on feedback as constructive criticism instead of it being like an attack. I think when you aren't able to connect with people face to face like we were doing before, running the mobile, you weren't able to get that feedback in the way that we do get feedback now. Being able to ask someone face to face and them give you their honest answer as to what the feedback should be doesn't make you feel like shit. It makes you reflect and be like, okay, cool, that's something that I can work on. Because if you take feedback in the wrong way every single time and you have an emotional connection to it, what happens? You send yourself into a spiral. So I think the biggest win is being able to take on feedback in a non-criticizing way, but more for the growth of yourself, your business, your family, your relationships. Do you believe that there was any mistakes that we made this year?
We've made plenty of mistakes. I can't pinpoint all of them. I can't pinpoint one specific one. But probably one of the biggest mistakes that we've made recently has been losing focus. We were running two businesses at once. We felt like, oh no, the gym and a mobile PT business, they're pretty much the same thing. You know, to us, that's what we felt like when we came in here. And we're like, oh, it's going to be easy. You know, they both do the same thing. It's still personal training and nutrition coaching, just in 2 different locations, or, 15 different locations. What we didn't realize is, we had multiple group chats. We had a lot more clients, and we took the foot off the pedal. We stopped checking in with our coaches as frequently as we were before. We put more of our focus in here. We obviously weren't driving anymore. We were staying at the gym the whole day. And in that process, I feel like a lot of people that were on the journey with us lost passion or lost their drive for our mission, because a lot of people were part of our mission for the longest time. Some of our coaches have been with us since we started 3 years ago. And they probably saw the fact that we were losing passion for our first ever project, which was building the mobile PT business. And because we were never able to identify the fact that it was a separate business or separate entity to this, was why it obviously has, lost
momentum.
Lost momentum, exactly. And we haven't been as present. So in a way, we've had to reshift our vision. We've had to reshift our mission. We've had to reshift what we want from this gym, or what we want from our careers and our future and what we want to build. And if that means that we had to lose one thing to gain another, that's the decision we made. And in a way, I see it as both a mistake but also a positive at the same time.
Big lesson to take on as well. That you can't be in 7 places at once.
You can't.
What do you think we did well this year to get over those hurdles?
Passion. The thing that both me and you have is, no matter how stressful our careers are, we both have the same end goal or the same mission for our own lives. So we both want to help each other get to our missions because it's the same mission. It's the same goal. We both have the same vision for what our future life is going to look like. So in a way, we're using our careers to build that vision, or that personal vision. Having the family, building our own families. That's our end goal. And in a way, the fact that we both know that's what we want, and we're not aiming for this Dubai lifestyle, Lambos on the beach kind of lifestyle that people see on Instagram. We don't exactly need to think, like, we're not there chasing specific things like that. So we know each other in that way. And even though there's tough times, we always think back and realize that, no, we're both on the same path. We're just going to lock back in and get back on that path.
I think the one thing that we've really focused on is being open and honest and asked questions. This podcast has given us that opportunity to do so when there's been a week where we haven't been able to get a guest on. We've had that opportunity to actually sit down and speak without thinking about work and only work, because that's, for the past 3 years, how we've operated is that you wake up, you go to work, you come to work, you work, and then you go home and you think about work for the next day. Whereas coming into here and taking that leap of faith that we did this year, I think the one big thing that I wanted to take onto this year was to communicate more and to ask more questions and to be more honest. And I think that's helped both of us, because in turn it's rubbed off on you. When you've had a hard day or whatnot.
I've become a little bitch.
Yeah, you become a little bit of a teddy bear, which is cute. But at the same
Say
time,
I'm a cuddly little teddy bear, or
when you're not putting me in a chokehold, yeah. You put a disguise on that you're not a cuddly bear. You put the grizzly bear jumper on, but then underneath you've got the cuddly teddy bear side. But it's usually zipped up and locked.
Yes,
It only comes out when the bolt cutters are out, and then the whole thing falls off, and then it's like, oh, I'm Brandon. I'll give you a cuddle, Ree. But it's very rare. Rarely comes out. But when it does come out, it actually comes from the heart. So I think that's how we've coped with these issues through these hurdles, is that we've had each other. I think if it was just me, it'd only last a month. If you were running the ship, it'd be running, but there'd be a lot of problems. And you'd just be like, fuck it, I'll deal with it tomorrow, fuck it. I think when we started this podcast, the main theme that we took on was the yin and yang theme.
black and white.
Black and white, yeah. Working with each other instead of against each other. There's times where you work against me and I work against you. There's times. Like the magnet analogy.
The magnet analogy, yeah.
You know? There's times where the magnets are the polar opposites and they can't even touch. But then there's times where they flip the other way and they can reconnect.
Bang each other.
They can bang each other, yes.
Okay, so obviously we've recapped 2025. Now, I want to know, what do you have planned for 2026? What do you want to achieve in 2026? And what do you want for us in 2026?
2026 will bring us closer to freedom, I believe. And I'm really focusing on self-belief this year. So I'm really going to put it out there into the universe and manifest it. I think 2026 will also bring a lot of new opportunities for us. Now that we've taken a risk like this, it shows that we can take more risks that are more calculated.
Does that mean another gym?
No, doesn't. I think we stay here for another year and a half more and then look to grow. But
I don't know if I want another gym.
You don't know? I'm not saying.
Why don't we just build up?
Anyway, I think this year will bring a lot of new opportunities for us. I don't want to look too far into it. As you mentioned before, I want to focus on the present a little bit more this new coming year. And I think that's very important for both of us to not stress out too much about
goals and everything like that.
About things too far ahead. We used to have that mindset last year where we would stress about things that were happening 3 months in advance. And it's still good to, like focusing on planning. That's probably another thing that I want this year to focus on, is our planning, our execution, the organisation of ourselves. I think 2026 will bring a lot of new opportunities. What about you? What do you think 2026 will bring for us?
I feel like every year that we've been running the business, we've always had these, business goals of, an extra 50 clients or trying to get an extra 10 trainers. And it's always been like financial growth focused.
Yeah.
Whereas for me personally, like I've said it multiple times in the podcast, so people are going to hear this again. I came into this gym not liking group training, saying it again and again. And within my first week, I realized how beneficial it was and how amazing it was, because that
It's like a kickstart.
it creates a community. Honestly, like I see people coming in here that weren't friends yesterday that are able to go outside and go for a coffee together.
And we were able to create that through our Christmas party, through our events that we ran.
Exactly. The events that we create, the group training sessions that we have that run every single day, I've been involved in them. I've actually trained in them. I wouldn't say it's my method of training, but I do at least 1 or 2 every single week now, because I like being involved. I like training with them. I like the energy that it brings. And it's not, has nothing to do with the actual training methods that are involved in the group training model, but it's more the community that it brings. So for me, 2026, I want to really bring that community closer, create more of a family. And if that brings more people, it brings it. But I'm more focused on trying to like solidify that community and make it strong, because we've created really strong relationships in here already, and we haven't even been here for that long. And I feel like in a whole year's time, we can really solidify some really strong relationships with people. So that to me is probably my biggest goal. Create, hold, and build a family inside my workplace.
That's the essence of what you want in life, isn't it?
Build a family.
Well, that's the end goal. So why wouldn't you replicate that with your work if you have the opportunity to?
I never thought of it like that.
Because it's something that we love to do. There's been months on end, and I even spoke to Craig about it this morning. He goes, "You haven't taken a break since you started, eh?" I said, "Maybe one day, maybe 2 tops." Like a whole day where you just switch off completely. But it's not because I want that break or we want that break. It's because we love coming to this place to create a future for ourselves, but also creating a second family.
100%. There are times, because obviously you can't work 24 hours a day. You have to have some sort of break or move away from a location, right? And we've been doing this thing where we take some days, half day, like we do half days here and there, or finish a little bit earlier on some days than others. And on those days, when it hits a time that some of our classes are running or we've got people coming into the gym, I get this like FOMO feeling. I'm like, I wish I was there, you know? It's weird, because I know I'm going to be there at 5 a.m. the next day. I know I'm going to be there for the next 7 days in a row or 8 days in a row. So I shouldn't really be thinking about missing out on 2 classes that are happening that evening. But I seriously feel that FOMO, like, oh man, you know, I wish I was there. Weird.
It's because you love what you do. You've created a love for what you do again. You know? It's hard to find that. And through what you've done and through what we've done in our careers, in terms of our, like what we're doing, personal trainers, there's a next level that you go to. You either buy a gym, or you go online and service your own clients, or you stick with the business that you start with forever and grow with them. And we took the route of doing it on our own with starting from nothing, starting from no knowledge, besides having the balls to ask very successful people, not only in our industry, but outside our industry, how they got to where they got to, why they kept waking up every morning, why they believed that they had something else no one else did.
Yeah.
How they created more time for themselves by putting more time into their business, their passion. Like what were they striving towards was questions that we asked. Like, why did you take that leap of faith? Now they're questions that we ask ourselves. Why did we take that leap of faith? And you answered it perfectly, to create a family, because that's the end goal for us. We're both on the same page with it, working towards the same things. I think You know, everyone walks into the new year with all these New Year resolutions. What do you believe that this year will bring for you in terms of your New Year's resolution, in a sense?
A bigger family.
The community?
Next year, I do want to solidify and create stronger relationships in here in my community. And I've never been that involved in my community my whole life. So for me, this is
community for that matter.
Yeah, any communities for that matter.
What's the goal for the podcast next year? What do you want to get out of doing these podcasts?
I'd say I have a similar mission for the podcast that I had for the gym, which is to build and strengthen relationships with people in our industry. So even though the gym and what we're doing in here is with our clients, our community, the people that we serve, with the podcast, I feel like it has more to do with the fact that we're trying to educate ourselves to help other people like us who are in our position or making decisions that we already have made, be able to make them with more information, and also be able to connect with other leaders in our industry so we can actually improve to better serve our community and the people that listen to this podcast as well.
Do you believe that over the course of the year and every risk that we've taken this year, your definition of success has changed? And if so, what is it?
Yes, I feel like it's changed. I feel like my definition of success has definitely shifted to now me focusing on my career being attached to my personal goals. And that just means creating a space that I love coming to every single day, and I can actually see my family being a part of.
If you were to watch yourself a year from now, what would be the one thing that you would tell yourself, your future self?
Make sure you don't stop doing. Make sure you, no matter what, always look in the mirror and reflect on the day that was and the day that's coming. And Rhiannon, how do you define success? How has your definition of success changed this year? And what is it now?
My definition of success this year was happiness. And I don't think it's changed too much. It's still happiness. But at the same time, success to me is being able to continue being happy while also believing in yourself and creating a life around you, creating a community around you and a family around you that assists in that happiness. Thank you to every single guest that has come on to the podcast this year. We're excited to bring some new people to the table and ask them a few more questions about their life, their journey, and to really give them a platform to share their story. I think that's the main essence of what the Dynamic Podcast is all about, is being able to speak to different people and give them a platform to share their story. So thank you, 2025, for the year that was. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but as you can see behind Brendan, we did the thing. We achieved a whole year of doing podcasts, minus 4 weeks.
And bring on 2026.
And bring on 2026. We will see you in the new year. Thank you so much. And for now, ciao.
And thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the Dynamic Podcast.
Thank you so much for sticking around. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if friends are interested, share it around.
Don't forget to comment your favorite part of this episode and tag us on your social media platforms.
And we'll see you next Friday. Ciao.